what now? You've got all that information, now what do you do with it? Cry. Well, without deviation from the norm, progress is impossible. So what are you going to do different? This is what we've got to start doing. So we're going to get our pens and paper out again. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. Here's the cool stuff. You're going to start some goal setting. I've got a formula, tried and tested, that I do with all of my one-on-one coaching clients. And it's a monthly goal. And I don't ever give anybody more than 3 things to do at once, ever. You know that, don't you? The reason why I don't give any more than 3 things is because it's unachievable. What happens is people come in gung-ho, no, I want all the information now. Tell me what to do now. No, I'm so inspired right now. And I'm going to make this massive change. Yeah, I'm so full of adrenaline is what's happening, and cortisol, stress hormones. I'm jacked up. I'm really excited. I'm going to go gung-ho and do all this stuff for like 2 days. You see? So there's no point. It needs to be enough things that you notice a change and you feel good about it when the change happens, but it needs to be small enough that it's achievable to integrate into your life. So 3 things is really good for the first week because you're excited about it, so we can do more and you're inspired. So 3 things. Now, I don't want these to be big things. They need to be small enough. Here's the criteria. You have to be able to do it now, this moment. Change it.
Can I throw an example?
Yeah.
Say 2 sugars to 1 sugar?
Yep.
Is that?
Yep.
That's not too...
There's no right or wrong. Yep. So you need to be able to do it right now. Why do you need to be able to do it right now? Because the future doesn't exist. It's an illusion. All you've got is a series of nows. That's it. So if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? There's no point worrying about doing something tomorrow. It doesn't exist. It never, ever, ever will exist. So you're going to pick your 3 things. You're going to do them for the first week. The second week, you're going to write down another 2 things that you're going to do in that second week. And the third week, you're going to pick 1 thing to do. And the 4th week, it's just integrating it all. It's nothing. You don't have to worry about anything more. So that comes up, that turns into 6 things. So ideally, that's 1 thing out of all the 6 foundation principles. So in a month, because it's all about balance, you cannot fix and get your goal by just doing nutrition. You cannot fix and get your goal by just drinking more. You cannot fix and get your goal by just going to the gym, right? And I do refer to the weight loss side of it a lot because that's what most people think they want. But that's not what we do. Okay, so we're here for health. The really good thing about health is that the side effect is often a healthy weight. But you cannot, just put this into perspective as you're writing your goals, you cannot even attempt to lose weight with an unhealthy body. It is physically impossible to lose weight if you are unhealthy. Your body will not allow you to. What you are doing is trying to find a needle, but just picking up more and more and more straw out of that haystack and carrying it around. It's just not going to happen. You get healthy, and then it will automatically happen. It will automatically lose weight. So 6 things in total, 1 thing from all the areas. We'll go through the areas again, all right? So what you need to think about as you're writing these things, feel free to start writing stuff down. But what will give you the greatest pleasure when it changes? What's the thing that will really give you the greatest pleasure? And what will give you the greatest pain if it doesn't? They're the same thing. The thing that will give you the greatest pleasure is the thing that will give you the greatest pain if it doesn't work. So come up with a few things. 3 things that you can do now. That's what you need to work on first because that's happening this week, today. Then 2 things, then 1 thing. Small things, not big things. Taryn, are you 2 good for this. Now, why don't you write it down? Even Tamara didn't get out of it. Yesterday I was like, why aren't you writing stuff down? She's like, oh. So I was like, here is like a professional. I'm like, what, you think you're too good for this? All right. Yes.
Can we see the 16?
Yes, I was about to say that. Thank you. Can I just read them out to you? 'Cause
Yeah.
I have to play with PowerPoint. It's not technology.
That's one thing for you.
So you've got thoughts, breathing, hydration, nutrition, movement, sleep.
Do you know what my 3 things are?
If you want to share.
Can I just, I've got to say this because it's quite funny. Well, I think it's funny. No one else will. But a while ago, when I was quite stressed, and it's only in the city office because I've got like a whiteboard behind my computer.
Yeah.
And I was like, a shit day. Junior was being a pain in the ass and she just annoys the crap out of me. So I wrote breathe above my computer. Not connected to this at all. I'm just like,
Love
you
that.
just need to breathe.
Yeah.
So I wrote breathe. Someone wrote, because I'm not in there every day, someone don't breathe.
See, I would laugh at that.
That's
I would
funny.
think
Oh, you're looking at it's funny, but then I'm like, who the crap wrote that? And you know who probably wrote it? Probably the damn bloody tune.
Yeah.
Actually uses my don't breathe. I thought it was funny. But that was more, you know, breathe. Every time she annoys you,
Yeah.
just breathe.
Good. How we going? Need more time? Come on, don't overthink it. Pick stuff. So we need to look at our feelings around our goals. Why do we need to look at our feelings around our goals? Because you can't do anything unless you feel about it. Yeah, it just doesn't. So how will you feel if you don't achieve the things you've set out to achieve? Like, actually think about it. Look at the thing you're going to do. Look at your 3 things for this week. How will you feel if you don't? Feel. What are the feelings that you will feel? Write it down. At least some feelings. Is anyone else freezing?
Yes. Making me sleepy. I'm in short. I'm about to get my extra
Slippery shots. How will you feel if you don't achieve it? Will you feel sad? Will you feel disappointed in yourself?
Really?
Will you feel unfulfilled? Will you feel angry? Will you feel deflated? Will you think, what the fucking point is this? May as well just go back to eating Tim Tams. Alright, stop the negativity. How will you feel when you do achieve it? This is what happens when I say this one. I don't know. No, say it. What's the feelings? How will you feel when you do achieve it? Great. Write it down. Cross out. Cross out, so you can still read it, but cross out the feelings of negativity. Cross them out. How will you feel now when you do? Will you feel happy? Will you feel really proud? Will you feel inspired? Will it give you a new sense of freedom? Will you feel excited? Joyous? Energetic? Alive? He's being so good, James. Must come out. So how will we measure it? How are we going to measure your goals? If your goal is to lose weight, that's easy. We like actually measure it. But if it's not, well, how do we measure it? Yeah, you really can. Yeah, you really can. But what physical thing can we feel and touch and see to know that you've done it? Because you can't trust yourself to tell yourself you've done well. You certainly can. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go through a few things. If you don't want to share, don't share. It's completely fine. Do you want to share what your goal is? Yeah?
To overcome my fatigue.
So, but be specific. What's the things?
So it doesn't matter how much I sleep, I don't have energy, which is related to the food I eat. Food I eat related to the way I feel in my body,
Yeah.
weight, everything else.
Yeah.
Just related.
So what are you going to do? What's your 3 things this week?
Water, sleep, and food.
Okay, so how do we measure that you've done it? How do we know that you've drunk enough water?
Write it down.
Yeah, cool. So if I'm working with someone one-on-one, I break this down even more. So like for instance, one of the ladies yesterday, Jodie, her thing is to drink water because she would be lucky if she drank 600 mils of fluid a day. Not water, fluid. And that includes tea, coffee. So for her, I said, let's not even worry about how much you're supposed to drink each day. I just want you to drink water. Like that's it, just drink some. So, and then the second thing that she had to do was to move. Now she works for Telstra. Sitting down all day, blah, blah, blah. So her thing is that she needs to move and she needs to drink water because they're closely linked. So she needs to get up and go to the sink. She's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. She's moving and she's getting a drink of water. I don't care about the level of fluid that you need to get in, but you need to just get it in. So have a chart by the sink or wherever it is that you're going to be and just knock one off each time that you do it. So don't worry about doing, don't worry about going backwards. Don't worry about knowing that I need to drink 2.3 litres and then making sure I get the meals in. Just tell me when you do. Because one of them is actually taking you towards a negative reaction and one of you is taking towards a positive one. If you look at what you are doing as opposed to how much you've got left to do, it's 2 very different things. So let's look at how much you are doing and at the end of the week add it all up. And then the next week you can have a look at how much more you need to do and you could just increase that by a glass here and there. And you just keep this, it's about forward motion, it's not about perfection. So water could be that. How are you going to measure that you've moved your body? What are you going to do to move your body?
I need to go for walks.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Sun's out.
yeah, beautiful. So, how do you measure that? How do you know that you've done it? Plan it,
Yeah.
have a diary, and know that today I'm going for a walk at such and such a time, like make an appointment if you need to. Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. Cool. Anybody else struggling with how they're going to measure it? No? Anybody else want to share?
I'll share the first thing. On all 6.
Go for it.
I already drink 2 litres of water a day,
Mm-hmm.
but most of my water is water that I've bubbled.
Yeah.
Because I don't like plain water. My aim is to drink 1 bottle that's not bubbly and 1 that is.
Good.
And perhaps drink a little bit more than that because I weigh a bit more than I did
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
And so I'm not drinking that extra
Yeah,
water.
and that's the other thing too, guys, is when you are starting to learn about the foods that you need to eat and how much water you're supposed to eat, you need to do it for the body you're in now, not the one you want to be in. That doesn't work. You need to fuel the one you're in. So if you weigh a certain amount, you need to support that amount, not what it is that you would prefer to be. It doesn't work that way.
Second one was not to have my phone in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Not that I use it at
That's mine.
night, it's not my alarm. I do have an alarm clock. I might turn that off because I don't use it. I'm always awake before it. But I like to know the times. I do have a watch next to me that
But
goes-
you could, I do know people that just put a black cloth over their alarm clock so they can just lift it up.
Okay, that would do.
Yeah.
I might do that. But I won't have I might charge my phone in the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
And the third thing was in relation to thoughts is I've got a journal, bought it a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's not that long, maybe 2 months ago. written in it once. I might start writing in the journal.
Right, or will.
I will write in the journal. It's
That's
there,
true.
next to my desk.
That's a really good point because there's no such thing as trying to do stuff.
So I'll write it.
You either do it or you don't do it.
And it's got questions and all sorts already in there, so it's not that you have to
Yeah.
actually think about it.
And the thing with that is there's no rules. If you want to write stuff down, you're just writing it down. It's not, because I know when I first started journaling, I started working with my amazing friend Solly, who's another coach, and her big thing was journaling stuff, and you would journal all this stuff that you're having, you needed to get out of here. And my thing is because I'm a thinker, it goes around and around and around and around, and it's usually pretty good stuff, but it's like, whew, blow my mind sometimes. It's tiring thinking of all this stuff. And I do get overwhelmed by my own self. And so I just need to actually get it on paper. When I get it on paper, it's all good. I don't have to hold on to it anymore. I can see it there, it's there, I'm not going to forget it, it's no problem. I don't need to keep going around about it because the reason I go around is because I'm scared I'm going to forget it. So if I put it down there, I can't forget it, it's right there. But I'd be writing stuff down and I'd be like, oh, don't write that. Like censoring myself, are you kidding me? Like, who's going to read it? What's the point of doing it if you're not actually going to let it out? There's no point censoring yourself because you're actually not doing anything with your beliefs and your thoughts. You're still thinking the same things you're thinking. You're just telling yourself you're not. Anyway, go on.
So that's 3 things.
Yeah.
I've done all 6 because I've already worked on a lot of them anyway.
Yeah.
In relation to nutrition, I don't eat that badly. I'm not always in control of what I eat because a lot of people make food for me. And
Do you think, though, that because you're a part of my original crew from years and years and years ago, and the cycles that I see myself go through, as well as all of you guys, is we know this stuff and we do it most of the time. But you know how we talk about the 80-20 rule? Do you think that you're really realistic about your 80-20? Or do you think that, yeah, that's what I mean. So I eat fairly well. Like I'm kind of just justifying the fact that I'm eating biscuits.
Yeah. I wrote that down. No, I didn't write biscuits down.
Yeah.
So I wrote refined sugar down because I have been eating a lot more
Yeah.
biscuits. So you know that.
Yeah.
And I'm not always in control of what I get put in front of me.
Yeah.
But I was very good at saying, look, I'm not going to eat that.
Yeah, because you can control it because you've done it before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I haven't been very good at doing that lately. So I'll start with trying not to have dessert.
Yeah.
I don't make it for myself. Dessert generally. I don't go and every so often I might make
Just
something at home, but I don't go fine.
You're just justifying it.
Yeah, I know.
Move on.
Okay. So that's that one. Walking, putting in some incidental exercise.
Yeah. Low intensity activity is what I call. I refer to LAA all the time. LAA is something that you can do constantly, all the time. You're a human being, you're supposed to move around. Get up, move around, garden, walk, all that stuff. Park further away, everything. Do it all the time, lots and lots and lots and lots. Don't censor it. Wherever you see an opportunity to move, do it.
And I wake up early enough so I can go before everybody else is up. I just got to get out there and do it. And the last one's breathing. I wouldn't really think of much there other than perhaps when I'm sitting at my desk to get up, which I do anyway. Perhaps I'll.
Do you know, like, doing a breathing practice for even like a minute a day would be something that would benefit most people. Like everyone, really. I do breathing practice as a part of my yoga practice, which is a daily thing for me now. And you will feel so different from doing a breathing practice for just a minute, 60 seconds. Just do it. Like 3-4 breaths. Those breaths that we did where we really expand and then you really squeeze in and you actually don't just breathe out, but squeeze out and get out all that stale air and all that sort of stuff. There's so much in that it's really worth knowing.
Someone suggested to me that we should do it with your children because you're teaching them better habits for when they're older.
Yeah.
That's the way that they're going to get through their study, how they're going to get through their teenage years. It's learning.
Absolutely.
So it's starting now and every day.
Can't tell them what to do.
Get out. I got suggested to get out like a towel and that's your yoga time and just do it there with
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
That's right. And it doesn't even have to be a designated thing. That's the point. Like you can just do it whenever. like my kids and I will be watching TV at night time, and we're just always like laying around on the floor doing stuff, and it constantly turns into this whole like, oh my god, can you get legs behind your head? I can do that. Can you do this? And then the kids are like arguing with me about who can do it better, and we're all doing yoga on the floor. They don't know they're doing yoga, but they are, and they're just starting to like do all this stuff. And I'm trying to, you know, get Kate to do back bends and things. She's had heart surgery and stuff, and she's quite constricted through here, and so before she started dancing and doing yoga and chiropractic care, she couldn't even have drummed above her head. She was like this. Because she did no tummy time, she did no nothing, she was flat on her back for a year, and it was just, you know, it was hell. But it's now I'm trying to get her to do back bends and stuff, but it's just through play. Like we just play with it and muck around with each other and do all that. They don't know they're doing it.
But it's no good to teach them that that's how you do calm yourself down if you want a bit stressed.
Absolutely.
Teach them that for their future.
Absolutely. That's right. You know, to go even one step further with our kids is that if we really are demonstrating how to be, just how to be as in your own self, and how to be okay with your emotions, and how to be really okay with how happy you are and really okay with how sad you are, you don't even need to teach them. Like, they just know how to then. I don't think I've ever had a conversation with my kids on how to calm yourself down, because they don't need calming down. They like don't need it. If my daughter cracks it, she will say to me, I need peace and quiet and going to my room, please leave me alone.
Just put them down.
And I go, okay, no worries, it's cool. She'll go into her room and you might hear her in her bedroom, and then she comes out, and I'm like, you're right. And I'll be like thinking, oh my god, we need to sit down and have a talk. And she's like, all right, no, good. No worries. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Russ, I'd love to know what you wrote down.
Me?
Yeah.
Why would you want to know what I wrote?
Because
As in, like the.
Because you're like my biggest critic, and I'd just love to know.
What were you?
Because you are. You're the one who rolls his eyes in the room. Like if I had everyone dancing right now, you'd be like, he'd be that dude in the room. So I like want to know.
Be a party pooper.
Yeah.
He's one you don't think about in the shower.
Lisa might. We'll leave it alone.
So what do we want to know? Just the three do's.
Yeah.
Well, obviously for me, sugar is a big thing for me.
Yeah.
There's no secret in that.
Yeah.
But did I notice that you were smoking?
Yeah, I smoke too.
You might want to think about giving that up.
That's a pretty big one though.
That is on the list.
Cut down one cigarette.
So,
Just done one for
yeah, so sugar. One thing I will ask, and we've spoken about it previously, but for everyone else that doesn't know,
Yeah.
alternative sweeteners to white sugar, obviously brown sugar is honey.
Well, they're all sugar. In terms of nutritional content, there is more nutritional content in the honey and brown sugar, coconut sugar, rapidura sugar, those things. Are they going to help you lose fat and stuff? No, they're not.
They can kill your cravings if you need to have some sort of sugar giver, isn't it?
I don't disagree.
Something or sugar, or honey, sorry, or rice.
I don't agree. I understand that psychologically it can, because you've had that sweet taste, and so psychologically it can say, well, I've had what it is that I needed. The thing is that what we know on a biological level is that no human being craves sugar. Like the actual sugar, no human being craves it. Your body's actually asking for something else. So you could kill that craving with a different food. And it's a particular nutrient. It could be. There was a list somewhere that went around, and I double checked it, and it was actually pretty accurate. It was a Facebook photo that we found.
If you're
Just one of
craving
the things.
chocolate, then have this.
Yeah, and we used it in one of our 10-week challenges quite a few times. I'll try and find it. I'll try and find it because I double checked it on my references, and it was actually pretty good. But it told you the actual thing that your body needed and why you're having a craving. So what to have instead. The thing with sugar is that it has such a massive biological chemical effect that, like, there's a book called NIMS, which is a drug dictionary that nurses and doctors use in the hospitals, and it gives you every drug and every contraindication in the book.
Can I just interrupt you with a story?
Yes.
This is how disgusting sugar is. And Lauren knows my ex-husband. He told me that he had an aneurysm from energy drinks.
Yeah.
And what actually happened was he was withdrawing from sugar.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was a drug addict,
Yeah.
like withdrawing.
Yeah.
He had
It's
like
nasty.
migraines.
This is why, I'll tell you why. In this book, in the MIMS dictionary, there is more indicators to physiological changes, hormone brain changes, cellular change and all that kind of stuff in there than heroin for sugar. It is more addictive than heroin. So, like, yeah, it's pretty hard not to crack. But it's so hard to know. It's really an individual thing as to what's going to work for you. I have sugar cravings a lot, but I don't necessarily need sugar. Like, I'm quite happy now. Like, for me, I would be able to have yogurt and berries. And I've figured out that if I have something crunchy with it, like nuts or something with it, that the chomping of the nuts is like, it does what I need for my brain to stop me needing the sugar. So you've got to play with the stuff and figure out what it is for you. But the most latest study that I have researched and looked into, because I was hearing a lot of really bad things about artificial sweeteners. I don't recommend artificial sweeteners at all, but it also included the natural ones like stevia and xylitol, which are from plant derivatives that I used to recommend to people. And I was hearing some really bad stuff about that stuff. Then they're a refined food. It's ideally you want to not have it. Your palate doesn't need it. It's just that it's less bad, you know. So it's like from this to that. Like not everyone's just going to stop, and they need to have an alternative. And you can gradually reduce the impact of what's going on in their life. My job is to improve where they're at. So I'll find something to improve where they're at, and if that's less bad than that, then we'll go with that. But I was reading some really bad stuff about stevia and xylitol in terms of that, and it was linking them all into all artificial sweeteners, saying that people who took artificial sweeteners, because of the sweet taste and the reaction on the brain, that it had just as many harmful effects on weight gain or lack of weight loss that as sugar, because it was the taste that made the brain do all the stuff with the hormones and all this stuff. And the study that I have read recently, which was pretty spot on and like peer reviewed, and it was a meta-analysis, which is the gold standard of studies, showed that that's a crock of shit. And that without the calorie content and all that kind of stuff, it didn't have any impact on people losing weight or all that kind of stuff. So if you, my thing is if that you wanted to have a sweetener of some kind, stevia is relatively natural, it's highly processed, but it comes from a plant, and so is xylitol. And there's no calories in it. So if it works for you, I think it tastes like poo. But if it works for you,
So I've got two more announcements from the sugar program. They're saying this is
yeah.
So they're saying that there's a slow burning, a better substitute in cooking to other sorts of sugar. So when I cook for kids, I use the right substitute.
Yeah.
I guess as you're saying, it's
Any
not
of
great,
these things
but it's-
are less bad. That's what I refer to them as less bad. Yeah. So it really does come down to the fact that it is a refined food. It's a food-like substance. There's not any purpose to having it other than to satisfy a need that is not nutritional. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we don't eat just for nutrients. We eat for many other reasons. There's a lot of other pleasurable reasons that we eat for. And so not all the food that we eat is for nutritional reasons. So if the food that you're eating is not for a nutritional purpose, then fine, eat it, but know that you're not eating it for nutrients. You're eating it for another reason. So therefore, it shouldn't make up the bulk of the diet. Yeah. Sounds good. That's it, guys. Anything else? Anyone want to ask anything? Why are you frowning at me, Taryn?
Oh, no, sorry.
Good God. Houses. Whew. Anyway, alright, so if you want to find out any more about me, my business, my programs, that kind of stuff, please go onto my website. If you haven't signed up for the ebook, you can do that now, or you can do that via the website. and that is free, and the metabolic typing test is in there. It is a basic metabolic typing test. It is a starting point, but you've got to start somewhere, right? So there's a bit of information, a bit of learning in there about stuff. And also, wellfueledwoman.com Wellfueled Woman, you can find it on iTunes, is my podcast that I co-host with my friend Sarah Hoisler, who's an occupational therapist. And we talk about some really, really, really cool stuff. There's about 5 or 6 episodes up on iTunes now that you can listen to totally for free on a lot of the things that we've spoken about today. So you'll be able to go into a bit more into depth on things like cortisol and adrenal fatigue, like the stress hormone, and how stress can make you unhealthy and how it's precursor to disease, including weight gain. And there's stuff about breathing techniques and all kinds of stuff on there. So between now and next month, that's a pretty cool resource to learn some stuff about. So yeah, that's it. Does anybody want to have measurements and photos done? Because if you do, we can get Tam on to doing that. Yeah. If you don't, you're free to leave. If you do, we'll do that now. Thanks, babe. So we're back here every Tuesday morning at 9:30 and every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. of the last week of each month. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So not every week, the last week of each month we're here. So hopefully you guys you're pretty clear on what you've got to do for the next 4 weeks to feel really good about your next 4 weeks. And I'd love to see everybody back. Bring people with you. I want to just keep this going and get it really big. One thing that I wanted to ask is obviously the lovely Tash is in the kitchen, like working and stuff. Tash and I would love to sort of look at getting food out for people. I'm not sure how we'll sort of work it out.
Because I'm hungry enough to the gym.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know whether it would be like an actual have a meal thing or whether we could just put nibbles out for stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I know, amazing. So I'm sure she'll come up with stuff, but I'll send out some emails of some options and see what people would be prepared to do. Exactly. It'd be good to be able to eat and chill out and relax a bit. So yeah, and over the next few months as time comes, I'll have other health professionals come in and do some